This week on the Online Wrap, we feature the cutting-edge climate risk profiling and adaptation tool developed by the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research.
You can click through to any one of these and it will open up a story map that takes the reader through some of the interactive work. This one, for instance, is on coastal flooding and the impact of climate change on coastal zones in South Africa.
But first, social media trends with Tanya Curry.
Eskom left the country in darkness, but we still managed to voice our frustration on the internet. With almost 70% of the conversation, there was little else to talk about this week. Human Rights Day made a much smaller impact than it did last year, even though President Ramaphosa gave an outstanding nation address. State capture inquiry learnt of Denel and how the entity was also captured this week. The country mourned for two countries, as Mozambique with the cyclone Idai and New Zealand terror attack made its way onto the charts. Babes Waduma resurfaced as Mampintsha made a public apology and the president focused on women abuse. Steinhoff report made headlines this week and their net sentiment is the lowest of the top 10. Sindiso Magakwa's killing made an impact as arrests were finally made on the ANC killings. Rachel Kolisi took to Instagram to publicly shame a woman who she felt was a threat to her marriage. She published the woman's profile and cell number on social media, resulting in a huge backlash from the community.
And now for the top stories on SABCnews.com this week. Articles related to load shedding were popular on the site, and amongst them was President Cyril Ramaphosa apologizing to citizens. Other news, Ramaphosa's SABC leader Bishop Barnabas Lekhanyane opened a refurbished school and clinic in Moria. Police apologized for removing learner's body after 4 hours. And ANC publishes candidates list for 2019 elections. The Council for Scientific and Industrial Research has developed a state-of-the-art online climate risk profiling and adaptation tool. The open access online tool named the Green Book is intended to assist municipalities to address climate change impacts and vulnerabilities in human settlements.
So the project is divided into 6 research streams. The first one was to downscale all the climate change projections to an 8 by 8 square kilometre grid for the whole of South Africa. Now that is the first time that information at such a high density is available across South Africa. So we can see in much finer detail what will be the impact of climate change on South African settlements in the future, in the near and in the far future. So that was the first research stream. Then the second one was to look at the vulnerabilities of settlements. We look at the socio-economic vulnerabilities. We put together vulnerability indicators using various variabilities.
The researchers say if Mozambique, Zimbabwe and Malawi had this tool, the municipalities would have been able to plan better ahead of cyclones.
The Green Book gives you a 2050 future, it gives you a likely 2050 future. It's a scenario planning tool, so it gives you information around your possible future and how your future can unfold under certain scenarios. So if Zimbabwe or Mozambique had access to such a tool, they would be able to see how their population would have shifted, how the future populations would be located somewhere, where the vulnerable populations are. So they could have said if a cyclone is to hit Beira, where's the vulnerable communities, where are they located, which ones, how do we need to respond to their needs, is it service access constraints, is it because they built below a flood line, and then the tool would help them to prioritize and to plan for future.
That's all for your look into cyberspace this week. For SABC News in Johannesburg, I'm Lebo Tshangela.